Hey, Daydreamer, welcome back to another episode of the Living Your Daydream podcast. I'm your host, Asher James, and I have been away from this show and honestly, the internet in general for quite a while. And there's a few reasons for that. And so today I'm going to share why I almost quit one of my businesses, why ultimately I didn't, and the lessons that I've learned along the way. So stay tuned and welcome to the show. Welcome, Daydreamer. This is the Living Your Daydream podcast. And in this show, we quest together through seasons of life and business. I'm Asher James, a photographer, filmmaker, and creative business mentor. And my hope is that this show helps you settle into a place of peace and comfort in a world that attempts to distract us from what really matters, setting a healthy foundation for us to take big action on our goals and to achieve the life we've always dreamed of. As you listen, I invite you to join in on conversations with me that I have with industry friends, reflect on new ideas and inspirations, and apply this knowledge to design a life that I and you have always dreamed of. This is the Living Your Daydream podcast. All right, so let's start with a little life and business update. I have been reflecting over the past year, but especially since November, and through the holiday season. And as I'm recording this, it's February, but I want to rewind to September 2024, where we're right in the peak of wedding season. And at that time, I'm feeling incredibly burnt out, as I'm sure a lot of you might be as well. And I was taking too many weddings, for one. My co-working space wasn't as successful as I had hoped. And I was surrounded by just an overall sense of negativity. Whether that was from peers, social media, the world in general, who knows? But, at this point, I had been in business for 3 years, and I realized that I wasn't in this startup phase anymore. And I was fully supporting myself through my business, yet I constantly feel and felt financially behind. And part of this was due to my mindset. I wanted to operate like the business that I aspired to be. So rather than playing small, I decided to act like that business. But in doing so, I made some financial decisions that maybe didn't quite make sense on paper. So by 2023, 2024, to kind of rewind a little bit, I had hit my goal of earning 6 figures in revenue in a year. But despite that, I was still struggling, right? It wasn't all it's cracked up to be. Bills were piling up, credit cards are maxed out, and I just feel like it's, something wasn't clicking. So that's why I'm actually going to be doing a series of episodes where I open up about my finances, because I think it's important to have honest conversations about this side of business with other entrepreneurs and entrepreneur and business friends. And I think that because we often only hear about all the financial successes of when it's tied to someone, selling a course or a get rich quick strategy, do this because it's what I did. But real sustainable growth, I think, requires a little bit of a different approach. I had the rapid success, but I wasn't, feeling like it was sustainable success. And I really knew that I needed to shift how I was operating. So in September, I decided that before I could make any big changes to my life or business, I needed to complete the commitments that I had already made and map out a plan to finish all of my wedding edits and other projects by Thanksgiving. That way I could give myself enough space in December to reflect and make some more intentional decisions about how I wanted to move forward into 2025. And so as the year wound down, I asked myself, how do I really want to be spending my time? I started mapping out what I thought would be my focus for 2025. I wanted to grow my podcast, the YouTube channel, the education brand, the personal brand, because I've never really fully prioritized them. And then I was reading a book called The One Thing, a book about focusing on a single area in business to create real impact. And this idea really resonated with me. And I thought, if I'm spreading myself too thin, I'm never going to be able to make significant progress. And so I built an entire curriculum based on goal setting. I was going to have this workshop and launch it, and it was based on the book called The 12-Week Year. I wrote the launch schedule, created a detailed plan for quarter one, prepared to go all in this new direction. But then something unexpected happened. As the holidays passed and the new year approached, I realized something. I wasn't excited about this plan. And even after weeks of mapping it out, something felt off. And at first, I wondered if it was just imposter syndrome, like, was I really qualified to step into the role of an educator? But deep down, I knew it was a little bit more than that. I wasn't feeling aligned with what I had already built. And so the tough decision came to scrap the plan and go back to the drawing board. Instead of trying to create something new, I asked myself, what if I just focused on improving what I already have? So I looked at my wedding photography business, and I know I only want to take 15 weddings in 2025, and I've already booked 12 of them. So that meant I only needed 3 more, which would likely come in last minute bookings or opportunities, So I'm not super worried about that. So I turned to my co-working space in studio, Duluth Creative Co. And to be honest, I had spent most of 2024 avoiding the fact that it just was not working. It wasn't thriving. I was and have been really disappointed in my photographer community that hasn't come out and shown the support for the space that I expected. But I also understand and understood that, times are tough financially for a lot of people. So I get it, So this put me at a crossroads. Like, this thing isn't working. So I could either fully commit to making Duluth Creative Co work, or I need to shut it down. I came to the realization, obviously, that I did not want to close it. I love the space, the community, and the opportunities it's created. But on paper, it's not making financial sense. And so this year, I'm deciding to give it my full attention and to see what happens. I'm going to dive deeper into what this looks like in future episodes, but I want to stress here that if you're feeling stuck in business, I want to encourage you to reflect as I have. And one of the biggest things that's really helped me is this concept that I've been developing called Daydream design. And it's all about mapping out 3 different possible futures over the next 5 years. And so I want you, first of all, to think about your current path. Where will you be in 5 years if you continue on your current path? If you take a different route, where could you be in 5 years? And then the third one is, if money and time weren't factors, what would you truly want to be doing? This exercise helps strip away external pressures and brings you back to your core values. So it helps you let go of what you think you should be doing and helps bring you back to what you truly want to be doing. And so if you want to try this exercise for yourself, I created a free worksheet. You can grab that down in the description of the episode. And yeah, it's completely free. So go check it out and see if that's something that helps you. Some final thoughts I have here for you is, for me, the big realization was this. Instead of constantly chasing new, what if I focused on what I already had and made that better? I could have closed Duluth Creative Co. and moved on, but instead, I'm choosing to go deeper instead of wider with more things into what I've already built. And so if you're at a crossroads, I want to encourage you to ask yourself, do I need to start something new, or do I need to fix what I already have? And neither choice is right or wrong. It's all about what aligns with you and what your goals are. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode, the first episode back in almost a year of Living Your Daydream. I'm excited to be back and living my daydream and creating things that I'm excited about. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe so that you're notified when future episodes drop. I'm not sticking to a super strict schedule this year, but I do have 4 episodes that I have written already. So I have some really exciting content planned and some interviews and people that I've already said yes that you know of in the industry that are going to be on the show. So make sure that you stay tuned. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next time.